Everyone wants more powerful shots and explosive footwork, but what if I told you there was a secret to increasing your power and change of direction speed that's backed by research but often overlooked? The secret lies in what researchers call your force velocity profile. And if you adjust your training just right, you can get enhanced results compared to just following a normal balanced routine. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 major qualities of our engine room in the peak performance pyramid, but I'm also going to show you how you can find your force velocity profile and get results faster. So let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to our deep dive series into the peak performance pyramid. Today we're moving into level 2, the engine room, and by the end of the video, you're going to have a complete playbook for how to actually train for strength, speed, and power in the gym. And speaking of playbooks, I've created a free tool that's going to generate a personalized report, just like this one, that's going to tell you exactly what you need to focus on. But for now, we're going to start with strength. Strength is our foundation for off-the-table training. Trying to be powerful without having a solid strength base first is kind of like trying to fire a cannon from a canoe. It's not going to go well. There's a few big misconceptions about strength training. First of all, people think it's going to make them big and bulky and slow, which couldn't be further from the truth. Strength training in the 2 to 4 rep range is actually less stimulative for muscle growth on a set-by-set basis compared to something like moderate to higher reps taken to failure. So you can get very, very strong without adding a lot of size if you don't want to. Powerlifters compete in weight classes, and they do this all the time. Second, building strength isn't so that you can hit that tiny 3-gram ball harder. It's for accelerating and decelerating your own body with lightning speed and precision. Improving your maximal strength raises the ceiling for both your speed and your power. This is why in level 2 you see these arrows in the pyramid. They all feed into each other. For example, acceleration, particularly in the first few steps of a sprint or change of direction, is highly dependent on maximal strength qualities because you need to generate high forces to get your body moving from a stationary position. Strength is also key for absorbing forces during braking and deceleration, which can end up being multiple times your own body weight. This is why simply playing more table tennis will never be enough to generate the raw strength needed to safely handle these forces. So here's how we actually train for strength. First, you should focus on compound exercises. This will give you the most bang for your buck because they work multiple muscle groups at once, and they're the undisputed kings for building raw strength. Machines are fine too, by the way. You don't need to stick to barbells and free weights. Strength is strength. Now, to make sure you're building a balanced body, you want to cover 6 key movement patterns throughout the week. You want a knee-dominant quad-focused leg movement, a posterior chain-focused hinging movement, a horizontal pressing variation, a horizontal pulling variation, vertical pressing variation, and a vertical pulling variation. Covering these bases will help you hit all the major muscle groups and promote even development. Second, you should lift heavy but smart. For your main exercises, this typically means choosing a weight that you can handle for roughly 2 to 8 reps with good form. If you can do more than 10 reps easily, the weight is likely too light to be a primary strength builder past the beginner stage. Next, I also advise leaving a few reps in the tank at the end of most sets. This is the secret that separates smart athletes from gym bros. You do not need to train to absolute failure to get stronger. In fact, it's often counterproductive. Aim to finish your sets knowing you could have done 2 to 4 more reps if you absolutely had to. This is known as reps in reserve, or RIR. And this provides a powerful stimulus for strength gain without the extra fatigue, soreness, and potential injury risk that comes from going to failure on every set. So if you know a weight is your 8-rep max, a great way to train for strength is to do multiple sets of 4 reps with it. You're getting high-quality, powerful reps and leaving gas in the tank. In terms of your cadence, you should control the weight on the way down, the eccentric, and then drive it up with maximal explosive intent on the way up, the concentric. Even if the heavy weight moves slowly, your intention should be to move it as fast as humanly possible. This is how you teach your body to be powerful. For your rest periods, to ensure every set is a high-quality effort, you need to be properly recovered, so longer rest periods, even up to 3 to 5 minutes between sets, is key. For frequency, you'll get better results by training a muscle group 2 to 3 times per week with moderate volume than by cramming all your work into one marathon session. A good starting point is to aim for 6 to 10 total hard sets per muscle group for the entire week, split across multiple training days. For each of these sessions, focus on achieving progressive overload and attempt to beat your previous performance, either by adding a rep or increasing the load slightly. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all of this, don't be. The research is clear that consistency is what matters most, and very low volume approaches can work well too. In fact, even a single hard set of 6 to 12 reps performed 2 to 3 times a week can still lead to strength gains even in trained lifters. It's not all or nothing. Start small, be consistent, and build from there. Okay, I know that was a lot of detail, but the key takeaway for strength is pretty simple. Focus on the big lifts, keep good form, leave a few reps in the tank, achieve progressive overload over time. Do that and you'll be ahead of 90% of the players. Next up is speed. You've built the engine, but you need an ignition switch, and that's where speed comes in. Now, playing table tennis already gives us a lot of lateral change of direction work, so our first priority off the table is to build our top gear with linear sprints. Here's how we go about it. First, the golden rule of speed training is train fast to be fast. This means you do your speed work at the very beginning of your session, after warming up, and when you're fresh. For table tennis, most of our focus is on acceleration in a relatively short space, so short sprints of 5 to 30 meters are ideal, although working on maximal velocity with longer sprints has its place too, as that will ultimately feed into better acceleration as well. A word of warning, however, don't jump into full speed all-out sprinting without building up to it first. People often overestimate the injury risk of resistance training, but underestimate the risk of sprinting. For beginners, starting with hill sprints is an excellent way to learn acceleration mechanics safely, as the incline reduces impact forces. Or, if you don't have a hill available, doing submaximal sprints over shorter distances can be a good way to ease into things and acclimate your body to the demands of full speed work. Once you're ready, however, every single sprint should be an all-out maximal intent effort. Your total volume for the session should be pretty low, and you need to take long rest periods to make sure every sprint is a quality effort. Once your performance drops off and the quality is gone, it's time to stop. For many athletes, sprinting does have some logistical issues, unfortunately. Many gyms don't have a turf, and for those working out at home, they may lack the indoor space when the weather doesn't cooperate. If that's the case for you, see if your gym has an empty aerobics room. Those can be handy for short sprints, and you're less likely to stampede into someone. Or another option is just to create a short change of direction drill where you can just work within the space you have. So maybe a short 5-meter sprint, stop, turn around, sprint back. When the weather's nice, going outside and using the parking lot is another option. If none of the above work, I recommend quick pogo-style plyometrics. These can be done in place and will mimic some of the same benefits as sprinting provides in terms of building stiffness and pop off the ground. More on those in the power section. Speaking of power, power is the magic that happens when we combine strength and speed. Here's how we train for it. If you remember one thing about power training, make it this. Every single rep must be performed with maximal intent. You're trying to move, lift, jump, or throw as fast and as hard as possible. The moment you start slowing down, the power building stimulus diminishes. Just like with speed, we're training for quality, not failure. There's many different tools we can use to train for power. Plyometrics, like leaping, bounding, hopping with a rapid landing and takeoff, train your tendons to act like a pogo stick, absorbing and releasing energy with incredible efficiency. Jump training, like broad jumps, counter movement jumps, weighted squat jumps, box jumps, etc. These are more muscular focused and generate huge amounts of power while teaching you to absorb the landing with balance, poise, and control. Olympic lifts and their variants are amazing for building power as well. Exercises like snatches, cleans, and jerks are excellent for developing a high rate of force development due to the need for triple extension and well-timed landings, and they also improve intermuscular coordination and firing rates. However, they're a little tricky to learn, so you shouldn't really try them unless you have good form and the guidance of a coach to help you out with them. For many athletes, a simpler variation like a hang power clean could be a great alternative, providing many of the same power building benefits with a much shorter learning curve. And then we also don't want to overlook just power-focused resistance training. Normal resistance training can improve power too. If you lift heavy things fast, lift light things fast, you'll cover a lot of ground there. So just like speed work, power training must be done at the beginning of your workout when your nervous system is fresh. Because the goal is maximum quality on every single rep, you need sufficient rest periods between sets to fully recover and give 100% effort each time. Reps are usually lower in the 1 to 10 rep range so you can keep the quality across the entire set. And much like strength work, it's best to spread your volume out across the week in smaller doses rather than cramming everything into one day. 6 to 12 sets per week is a decent starting range. So now you have a playbook for strength, speed, and power, but how do you put all this together, and how do you know your force velocity profile, and what do you do about it? This is where individualization is key. As it turns out, many players are either force deficient, meaning they're lacking in maximal strength, or they're velocity deficient, meaning lacking in top-end speed. And the researchers discovered that targeting your specific weakness can get you faster results. So to help you solve this, I've created a short quiz that will analyze your body type, training history, and athletic tendencies and tell you whether you're more likely to be force deficient or velocity deficient. Based on your results, it'll generate a personalized report just like this one that'll tell you how to target your specific weaknesses, and I'll also send you my free routine and show you how to customize it based on the results of your report. The link will be the first thing in the description, so make sure you check that out. Once you've taken the quiz, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because in our next deep dive, we're going to be moving into level 3, where we talk about our fuel tank and cooling system for our engine, muscular endurance, and aerobic conditioning. So as always, thanks for watching, and may the spin be with you.